यार एक जरा एक काम करते हैं, हल्का स्टेज सर का पानी रखवा दे यार। अखिलेश सर आए हुए ना, आज उनके क्लास है ना, उनका पानी रखवा दे राइट। चल ठीक है, आ जाओ। वो टाइम वापस स्टार्ट करना, पानी आ गया। चल अभी
Good morning, learners and viewers. Welcome to the session of Masters of Business Administration. Today, we are going to start with project management, that is MMPO 002. We will start with block one, that is project initiation. And initially, we will introduce you to what project management is. Operations management is a field of management science that deals with the design and management of products, processes, services, and supply chains. It deals with the acquisition, development, and utilization of various resources that any firm needs to deliver and goods and services to their clients want. The subject coverage in operations management range from strategical to tactical and to operation levels. For example, it deals with the strategic issues such as determining the location for a manufacturing company, type of manufacturing process, and size for the factory, expansion strategy for plant location, other manufacturing locations, deciding the structure of service or telecommunications network, and designing technology supply chain, etc. In various technical issues like plant layout and structure, project management methods, and equipment selection and replacement, the application of operations management is evident. Operational issues, including production scheduling and control, inventory management, quality control and inspection, traffic and material handling, and equipment maintenance policies comes under this. Production and operations management, in short, we call it as POM, is about the transformation of production and operational input into outputs that, when distributed, meet the needs of customers. The process is often referred to as conversion process. There are several different methods of handling the conversion or production processes. They are job, batch, flow, and group. POM incorporates many tasks that are interdependent but which can be grouped under five main headings. Product. In fulfilling this objective, the role of production and operations plays a major role. It has to ensure that the business actually makes the required products in accordance with the expectations of market and consumers and translate it as a plan. The role of product in POM therefore concern areas such as performance, aesthetics, quality, reliability, quantity, production cost, and delivery dates. Plant. Second one is plant. To make the needed product, the plant of some kind is needed for any business house. This can comprise the bulk of the fixed assets and many short-term assets, set of creditors who supply the requirement material, and many others to the business. In determining which plant to use, the management must consider areas such as future demand, which includes volume and time, design and layout of the factory, equipments, offices, productivity and reliability of equipments, need for and cost of maintenance, healthy and safety, that is particularly the operations of equipment. No doubt manpower is also included. Environmental issues, that is creation of waste products. Processes. There are many different ways of producing a product. Management must choose the best process or series of processes. They will consider available capacity, available skills, type of production, layout of plant and equipments, safety, production costs, and maintenance requirements. Then comes your programs. In the production management terminology, program concerns the date and time of the product that are to be produced and supplied to the customers. The decision made about program will be influenced by the factors such as purchasing pattern, which includes lead time, cash flow, need for or availability of storage, and transportation. Next important part is people. Production depends on people whose skill, experience, and motivation vary. Key people related decisions will consider the following areas: wages and salaries, safety and training, work conditions, leadership and motivation, unionization, and communication. Organizational employ project management to get the following benefits: lower cost and higher margins, better reliability on processes and quality, effective utilization of financial and human resources, faster product to market, better relations with clients, improved productivity, and better coordination and improved worker model. Why? Project management is fairly new in the industry. More and more organizations are now embarrassing programs and portfolio management. Now, the question is, what is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. It is meant to have a definite beginning and end, and is meant to deliver a purpose for which it is undertaken. On the other hand, operational work is done in organizations to continue business work as usual. Projects are therefore different from operations as they end when their purpose is achieved or the project has been discontinued at the discretion of the management. Following are the few examples of project, that is building a custom designed house. An automobile company creates a new assembly line to assembly its product. A college campus replaces all overhead power cables with underground. A school implements a new mobile app for its students. A pharmaceutical company creates a new drug to fight a particular disease. These all are the practical examples of projects. What are the project characteristics? To define a project more accurately, the following characteristics will be helpful. Unique purpose. Every project should have a predetermined objective that is defined properly. For example, though there are several companies that create medicines, not only two medicines is the same, they are different in one or the other. Temporality. The nature of the project is temporary. If it goes on forever, then it is not a project. It can be qualified as operations that are ongoing. Therefore, a project should have a definite end. Progressive elaboration. The projects are elicited as and when more information is made available. Projects are created with a rough idea and a close estimate when started. However, when more details about the requirements are made clear, the project is termed and details as needed. Role of resources. Resources includes manpower, machines, tools, or any other assets which are utilized to perform a particular task. For example, in the case of building a house, there are various types of tools like measuring tape, plumb bob, plastering machine, etc. are involved. Customer or sponsor. A project is executed with a purpose to achieve a result. That result can be from the organization's internal consumption or for a customer who will be paying for the result. Uncertainty. Every project is unique, not only in terms of the results, but also in terms of the conditions in which it is executed. Therefore, it becomes difficult at times to determine the project objectives clearly. Estimate how long it will take to complete to determine how much it will cost. A good project manager contributes towards the achievement of project goals. Project managers work closely with the project team, sponsors, and other stakeholders involved in the project to define, plan, execute, and meet project goals. Then comes what are the project constraints? A project has multiple dimensions which are interdependent to each other. These are called constraints. Any project will have elements of scope, time, and cost constraints. There is also referred to in project management terminology as the iron triangle of constraints. Any change in one element will affect other dimensions. For example, if the scope is increased, the time and cost will also increase. For a project to be successful, the project manager must balance these three competing goals. The following elements should be considered. First one is scope. This is what is accomplished in terms of work. What deliverable does project management, the customer or the sponsor needs from the project? Time. Within what time frame should the project be completed? When should the state-wise deliverable be completed? Cost. What cost will be incurred for the completion of the project? What is the project budget and how will it be financed? Sometimes quality is also added as a constraint. Quality, how does the quality of the project or service needs to be? What do we need to do to satisfy the customer's requirements? Any project starts with project baselines, which define the scope of the work, the time allocated to complete the work, and the budget or funding that is set aside for consumptions while performing this work. For it, for example, a family wants to renovate their house and they start with an initial scope of painting and furniture and plan to spend 10 lakhs Indian rupees for the task. However, while the activity is taken, they got to know more about the leaking, plumbing, and faulty electric lines, and then they revise the scope of the work to incorporate these changes. With the added work efforts comes additional cost and the time. That means whole of the system will change. If the family decides to stick to the work content, they run the risk of getting the entire work effort wasted, as in due course of time, rectification of electric and plumbing lines will bring in patchwork which will compromise the original reason why the family decided to undertake renovation in the first place. Therefore, in the project scenario, the project team also encounters several situations where they have to strike a balance on scope, time, and cost constraints. Experienced project managers have over some time learned that What is most critical for the project? If cost and time are most important, then one must reduce the scope of the work. If some additional work has to be accommodated, if completing the new scope is important, then the project manager has to increase the budget and extend the timeline. For projects involving multiple parallel tasks that can be done, and the time is the most important criteria. When the additional money has to be spent to the employ people and get the work simultaneously, which ultimately costs more. When you do not want to reduce money or give more time to additional scope, then the quality of work gets adversely impacted. Therefore, the project constraints are in a way interrelated, and the change of any particular parameter will imply at least one or more parameters. The project manager must communicate the changes in the situation from time to time to the project stakeholders and the sponsors so that a thorough assessment of the situation and appropriate decisions can be taken in the interest of the project and the organization. The project manager should not get consumed only by these project constraints, but also keep in mind how important it is to meet customers' needs and expectations for continued business prospects and sustainability. Thus, a systematic and disciplined approach is important on the part of the project manager to handle these situations. What are the roles and responsibility of an operations manager? Some people, particularly those professionally involved in operations management, argue that operations management involves everything an organization does. In this sense, every manager is an operations manager, since all managers are responsible for contributing to the activities required to create and deliver an organization's goods or services. A stereotypical example of an operations manager would be a plant manager in charge of a factory, such as automobile assembly plant, but other managers who work in the factory in departments like quality assurance, production and inventory control, and line supervisions can also be considered to be working in operations management. And operation managers are responsible for managing activities that are part of production of goods and services. Their direct responsibilities includes managing operations processes, embarrassing designs, planning, control, performance improvement, and operations strategy. And their indirect responsibilities includes interacting with those managers in other functional areas within the organization whose roles have an impact on operations. Such area includes marketing, personnel, engineering, accounting, and finance. Operation management professionals make a number of key decisions that affect the entire organization. This includes the process by which goods and services are produced, the quality of the goods or services, the quantity of goods or services, that is the capacity of operations, the stock of material, that is inventory needed to produce goods or services, and the management of human resources. Project management basically is an application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. There are various frameworks as suggested by several project management institutions. One of the most sought after project management framework is that of Project Management Institute called the Project Management Body of Knowledge, that is PMBOK. which involves 5 processes group and 10 knowledge areas. Spanning these knowledge areas and process groups are various project management processes that are interrelated to each other and form a logical sequence of processes. The PMBOK also lists out several project management related tools and techniques for each of these processes. Project managers must not only strive to meet specific scope, time, cost, and quality requirements of project, they must also facilitate the process to meet the needs and expectations of the stakeholders who are involved in the project work. Therefore, it is extremely important to understand the project from the perspective of stakeholders. Now, what is a project stakeholder? There are several definitions of stakeholders. The most regularly prescribed is the one where the stakeholder is any individual or group of individuals who affects or is affected by the project or perceives to be affected by the project. As this definition is very exhaustive and encompasses many individuals or groups, the project is concerned only with the salient stakeholders. These includes the project sponsors, project teams, customers, users, suppliers, competitors. The project stakeholders can be internal as well as external to the project. If we take structure building project, similar to the Statue of Unity, there can be several stakeholders. The sponsors can be regarded as the government organizations who are in charge of this particular project, as they will be responsible for the funding of the project. Besides this, the funding responsibility, the government organizations and their officials will also be responsible for making critical decisions about the scope of the project and those related to the approval and necessary inputs regarding the project. Regarding the funding and budget of the project, the government organization will be deciding on the trade-off for any particular requirement against the available budget. Therefore, the ultimate responsibilities of what gets finalized and what will be the final output of the project will be defined by the project sponsor. Because for all such requirements, the project sponsor has to agree to the funds that have to be paid to the contractor. For a project of this size and scale, there would mostly be a team of individuals who in turn is supported with the project manager. For large projects, there are additional positions that resemble small and medium-sized projects. In this case, it would be done as project director. However, most often these leaders of the project are identified as project managers. The responsibility of the project manager will be to maintain integration and communication on the project among the several stakeholders. The project manager has to ensure that all the elements of the project are being addressed appropriately. The project team is not only the primary group of people who work on the project, but they also are a majority stakeholders of the project. The project team consists of engineers, designers, civil construction workmen, and various other individuals or groups who are directly working on the project. There will be necessarily inputs to complete their work. There will also need to apply of whether these inputs, such as raw material, tools, and equipment, will be made available to them or they will have to arrange it by themselves. The project team will have to work on in a coordinated fashion to complete the task. For example, the civil construction workers will have to work closely with the fabrication workers so that structure is erected as per the requirements. Generally, for a project, it will be counterproductive and impractical for the project team to make all the components and system by themselves. The project team might not have the time, resources, or capabilities to execute the task by themselves. Therefore, in this situation, the role of suppliers, vendors become extremely important. For the suppliers, the activity would be a regular task for which they have already been developed expertise. Rather than performing this task all by themselves, the project team can generate a suitable statement of work and procure these inputs from these suppliers. Several other individuals and groups who are of importance to the project progress are regarded as additional stakeholders. The local authorities providing electric supplies, water supplies, and communication channels are also a stakeholder to the project, as their performance impacts the project progress, even when they are not directly working on the project tasks. While there are stakeholders who are benefiting from the success of the project, there are other stakeholders who would benefit if the project fails or the project progress is stalled. Advisories to those involved in the project, such as the competitors of the participating organizations, individuals who wants the project to prolong beyond the scheduled time, do that their revenues continue, etc., would have a negative interest in the project, and these are also regarded as the stakeholders of the project. As there are several stakeholders on the project, and it is extremely important to identify these stakeholders at the start and during the life of the project. Besides, the project manager will have to ensure that these stakeholders are engaged and their expectations are taken care of to have a good relationship with them and ensure their continued support on the project. Now we move to project management frameworks and standards. There are various project management frameworks available. These frameworks are selected based on the kind of project and the industry. These frameworks are documented using standards or a body of knowledge. Prime 2, PMPOK, Agile, Scrum, Kanban, XP are the different frameworks that are currently in practice. These frameworks are continuously updated based on the feedback from the industry, professionals, and academic research to keep these relevant. From a basic learning standpoint, one needs to get familiarized with PMBOK, that is, Project Management Body of Knowledge, offered by the Project Management Institute. While several agile methodologies are being used in the IT industry, the PMBOK guides, widely regarded as a gold standard of project management until PMBOK version 6. The project management methodologies were based on 5 processes, groups, and 10 knowledge areas. However, the PMBOK guide, 7th edition, has shifted from the principles based standard to support effective project management to focus more on intended outcomes rather than deliverables. PMBOK 7 focuses on project management principles and project management domains. While further developments are likely to happen in PMBOK Guide 7th edition, project management learners and practitioners need to have an idea of PMBOK Guide 6th edition, as these are more perspective and nature, and several industries will retain the principles, tools, and techniques and terminology given in PMPOK 6th edition. Project Management Body of Knowledge, 6th edition. What it is? It is based on 5 processes, groups, and 10 knowledge areas. These process groups and knowledge areas are mapped into processes that need to be deployed appropriately for successful project management and achieving the project management baselines. We will see what these project groups are. There are 5 project process groups. That is initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control. The last one is closing. And the 10 knowledge areas are integration, scope, time, cost, stakeholder, resources, procurement, communication, risk, and quality. So we will start with process groups. What is initiating process? This group contains processes that are performed to define a new project or a new phase of an existing project. It is related to securing necessary approvals towards chartering of a project. The planning process. Groups establishes project scope, creates project management, plans relevant for each knowledge area, defines objectives, and determine the course of action to attain these objectives. Third one is execution or executing process group, which contains processes to undertake the work as defined in the planning phase, aim to satisfy project objectives. Then comes your monitoring and control process. This group are a set of processes that are undertaken to track the progress of the project based on the feedback of the status. It also regulates the process and performance of the project. It serves as means to identify area of changes required in any knowledge area and provides feedback to the planning phase so that necessary change can be implemented. Then comes the closing process group, which contains processes required to formally complete the contract and the project. Then comes your 10 knowledge areas. Project integration. Management includes processes and activities to identify, combine, and coordinate the various processes and tasks into a cohesive whole. Project scope management contains processes to ensure that all the project work and only the project work is undertaken for successful completion of a project. Then comes your project time. Project time management contains processes to ensure that work is completed within predetermined or scheduled timelines. Project cost management contains processes and tasks toward planning, estimating, budgeting, financing, funding, managing and controlling project cost so that the cost of the project does not exceed the allocated budget. Project quality. Project quality management contains processes that are undertaken to ensure that the project management process quality and the resulting product quality are in line with the requirement aimed at meeting the stakeholders' expectation. Project resource management is aimed towards identifying, acquiring, and managing the resources. For human resources, it is also concerned with training, team building, conducting appraisal, and demobilizing upon completion of the project. Project communication. Management ensures that all project information is timely and accurately generated, stored, and disseminated to the intended recipients, including but not limited to the project team and stakeholders. Project risk management is conducted to identify, categorize, and analyze project risks. Further, it is also related to planning, risk response, implementing actions, and building contingencies for unplanned risk. Project procurement management is related to procuring necessary products and services outside the project team, which serves as input to the project. And lastly is project stakeholders. Management contains the processes required to identify individuals or group of individuals that could impact or be impacted by the project and devise strategies towards engagement and monitoring of these stakeholders. Now, from sixth edition to we will move to seventh edition. This seventh edition is based on the concept of project management principles and project management domains. The project management principle guides the behavior of the people involved in project. With these principles being brought, it is necessary for individuals and organizations to maintain alignment. The project management principles are elaborated as be a diligent, respectful, and caring steward. The stewardship principle necessitates the individuals to operate in alignment with the organization's interest, respect engagement of project team members, and diligent approach to organization resources such as finances, materials, and technology. Outside the organization, it includes responsibility towards environment, external stakeholders, societies, and operating regions. Second one is to create a collaborative project team environment. A collaborative project team environment allows everyone to perform at their optimum, fosters a culture of partnership within the team members, and enhances team learning and development. As a result, the organization is benefit from the outcomes which are in alignment with its fundamental principles, values, and cultures. Third one is effectively engage with stakeholders. Stakeholders who are supported to the project should be taken care of appropriately so that they can develop a sense of association with the project, thereby increasing the chances of success on the project. Those stakeholders who possesses a high degree of influence and hold a negative idea of the project should be effectively engaged so that their concerns and interests are taken care of in the project. Fourth one is focus on value. Value is the primary reason why a project is undertaken. The project team should identify the value that the project will generate during, at the end of, or after the project is completed. Project team also monitors project progress and work towards timely achieving and maximizing project values. Fifth one is recognize, evaluate, and respond to system interactions. A project can be regarded as a system of independent and interacting domain of activity. To properly respond to the interaction of the system, consistent attention to the internal and external conditions is required. Sixth one is demonstrate leadership behaviors. Leadership does not mean authority, and while any team members can demonstrate leadership, behavior, an effective leader recognizes differences in motivating amongst the project team members. Further, effective leadership promotes project success and contributes to the positive impact of the project. Tailor based on context. The fundamental characteristic of any project is its uniqueness and hence context specific appropriate methods of producing the desired outcomes are required. This process is continuous and happens throughout the life of the project. We have to build quality into processes and delivery. Project quality needs to satisfy stakeholders' expectations and meet project and product requirements. It focuses on meeting the acceptance criteria and ensures that the project processes are available and as effective as possible. Negative complexity. Complexity is a result of human behavior system, interaction, uncertainty, and ambiguity. The project team needs to stay vigilant in identifying elements of complexity and use a variety of methods to reduce the probability or impact of the complexity. Optimum risk response. The project team should take steps to minimize the negative risk and maximize positive risks. A disciplined approach towards risk by identifying, evaluating, planning a response, and proactive implementation safeguards the project from eventualities. Embrace adaptability and resilience. Adapting to change and adapting to absorb impact keeps the team focused on the desired outcome when external and internal factors change. It keeps project team to learn, improve, and recover from setbacks, thereby continue making progress. Enable change to achieve the unpressurized future state. Managing changes through a structural approach helps project team to transfer from the current stage to a future desired state. While change can be challenging, as not even often to stakeholders embrace change by employing a motivational approach and focused actions, the project team can move steadily towards success. Now, what is project roles? A typical project will generally have the following roles. A project manager is accountable for managing the project to meet project objectives and deliver its intended values and benefits to the organization. This role involves gathering of information to get the project initiated, ensuring the project is completed according to scope, schedule, and cost baselines, including approved changes, orders that are undertaken to meet the project objectives. Having the right skill is very essential for being a successful project manager. Using interpersonal and team skills such as team building, enabling a safe and motivating environment, as against using a commanding approach, is essential for a project manager to get the task delivered from the project team. Project sponsor or initiators. It provides financial resources for the project while also supporting the project and safeguarding it from any unnecessary or non-value adding changes. The project sponsor also conveys the project status and updates on major risk activities to the senior management. A project team is a group of people, including the project manager, who will perform the work of the project. Team members can change throughout the project as people are added to and released from the project. It is the team's roles to help plan and task and create a work breakdown structure. In short, we call it as WBS, so that project tasks are monitored and controlled. Functional resource manager provides physical and human resources such as engineering, quality, sales, IT, etc. to the project on an ongoing basis. They have a pool of resources who possesses certain skills specific to their function and can thereby work on the project to deliver the output of the project. Business environment. It is understood for the project manager and the team to understand the business environment in which they will operate, as it helps them deliver the benefits and value for which the project has initiated. The term business environment can be thought of as an environmental factor and organizational culture. Environmental factors, maybe internal and external factors, influence projects. These factors include customers, stakeholders, regulations, technology, and the marketplace. The business environment is always changing, so it is important to consistently assess and adapt to changes in the business environment. In a predictive environment, the challenge is to consistently ensure that the forecasted or predicted benefits meet the plan envisaged during the initial and planning stages. Organizational culture projects are not unimpacted by the cultural norms, management policies, and procedure of the organizations in which they are conducted. These factors are increasingly important in global organizations in which the project resources are not collected and operate across different countries, sometimes continents, cultures, and time zones. Organizations may have employees, suppliers, subcontractors, and consultants who perform the project work but belong to different nationalities, cultures, and locations. A project manager is expected to devise methodologies to manage the project task within these constraints. It is important to consider organizational culture not only at the start but also during the life of the project. A project manager should be open to listening and understanding the perspective of these team members, align work accordingly, and seek support from the project team while executing the project work. Project feasibility analysis. First and foremost, what is the probability that the project being undertaken will be completed successfully and deliver its intended outcome? And second, what benefits are going to be realized for the organization and the project stakeholders? To assess the possibility of successful completion and foresee any major challenges that may render the project unfeasible. A project feasibility analysis is conducted. This analysis takes a holistic view of what risks the project may see during the entire life cycle of the project and its results or product after completing of the project. A project feasibility analysis is true. It is not detailed in many cases in nature. It will be unfortunate and disastrous for the project to not make it up to the end successfully and fail to deliver the intended results. The project feasibility analysis should necessarily identify such force-enabled possibilities and events before the project takes off. Another element of project delivery after successful completion of the project is to deliver the intended outcomes. For profit-based organizations, this may mean delivering more revenue, improving market share, efficient operations, or new products. And for non-profit and government-based organizations, intended results can be the improvement in the living standard of the public, better infrastructure, or any other social parameter for which the project is undertaken. based on project feasibility analysis and awareness of how the project outcomes will be delivered, a business case is prepared. A business case is an important project management document that explains how the benefits of a project outweigh its cost and the reason why it should be undertaken. Why do we need to conduct project feasibility analysis? A project feasibility study is intended to conduct and determine whether a particular project can be completed given the various pertinent aspects, including but not limited to social, economic, financial, legal, and technical studies. Before commencing any project, the project team must assess the possibility of completion of the project and whether it is worth investing in any kind of funds, including cash, human effort, and energy of individuals in comparison with other revenue generating ideas. According to PMI research survey, it is observed that more than 50% of the projects are not successful. While it does not mean that project does not get delivered in terms of the commitments or the intended result, it means that the participating organizations did not find it useful, at least immediately after the completion of the project, and would have preferred to choose another better alternatives. A good and thorough project feasibility study is the first step towards avoiding getting into this situation. Most projects see investment in terms of millions of dollars, and therefore, a failed project brings in huge liabilities for the organization and sometimes can be disastrous for the organization, especially in terms of mega projects. The sooner it is identified the project is going to be failure, then it is easier for the organization to kill the project and thereby save the resources and money without expending this any further. There are several dimensions through which a project feasibility study has to be conducted. Each of these dimensions indicates a particular area that can bring in significant risk for the project. These may not necessarily be same for all types of projects. An IT project would have far more technical risk as compared to a construction project, where there can be huge financial risk involved owing it very nature of being capital intense and not for profit such as government initiatives towards improving the social well-being of the people or a project of kind of rollout of a vaccine for a particular disease may not be financially viable, but the primary goal for the project is not to generate revenue, and therefore it might be difficult for the project team to assess the benefits of a project in financial terms. Projects which are executed for the sole purpose of generating revenues need to be assessed based on financial terms and parameters such as net present value, payback period, cash flow analysis, etc. This will help ensure and understand how the project is going to generate benefits over the period. All these rigor and assessments go into a feasibility study of a project. While a project study is entirely contractual, some standard templates and checklists can guide the team to perform a feasibility study that is robust and rigorous and successfully bring out challenges that need to be analyzed before initiating the project. What are the dimensions of the project feasibility study? A project is first conceived and regarded as a fantastic idea by individuals of Europe or individuals who think that the project will yield good results for the organization. Not only do they become the ambassadors of the project, but they also go on claim that this project is the single best alternative that the organization has. There are different ways and guidelines to conduct a project feasibility study of a project. Can get into trouble in many possible ways. Based on the type of project, these dimensions can vary in rigor and impact. Examination of feasibility request case needs to be done by an individual having significant expertise. Technical consultancy organizations generally perform the feasibility analysis. Now we will see what are the dimensions and what are their effects in different ways. If we talk about market analysis, it is concerned with the aggregate demand of the proposed product or service in the future and the market share expected to be captured. Now, what does it involve? It involves detailed study and understanding of consumption trends of the product, alternative product in the market, existing suppliers and their current production capacity, as well as plans, patterns of varying demand across the year or seasons, demand elasticity. Second one is financial analysis. Financial analysis is to ascertain whether the proposed project will be financially viable in terms of the ability to repay the debt and satisfy the return expectations of those who have provided the capital. What does this involve? This involves the assessment of means of financing the project financial position, internal rate of return, break-even point, and net present value. And if we talk about the technical analysis, this deals with the technical aspect of the project, which are specific to the domain or discipline involved. The issues can be categorized as inputs, throughputs, and outputs. Economic analysis, this is the study of the cost versus benefits. It is conducted to know whether the cost of the product is justifiable in comparison to the price at which it will be sold, where it is applied. FMCG products such as soaps and detergents have relatively less cost of manufacturing. But to take the product to the market and their marketing costs are high. Therefore, economic analysis is needed. If we take ecological analysis, some projects may expect to cause a severe impact on the environment, either during the execution of the project or the lifetime of the resulting product or service. Then, bulk, drugs, chemicals, petroleum industries pollute the environment. Hence, these projects need prior clearance from the several different government agencies. Legal and administrative part. There are several legal and administrative issues in any project, such as registration and clearance and approvals from diverse authorities. And this is related to land use, pollution control, factory rules, safety, and labor. Then comes operational feasibility. The operational feasibility is the measure of the fact in terms of the ability of the entity to solve the problem and exploit the opportunities successfully. Organizations conduct projects involving setting up a new enterprise resource planning, that is ERP platform, in the organization to save the time of various business processes. Schedule feasibility. A project has to be concluded within a feasible amount of time and cannot be perpetually without delivering the expected result for reasons whatsoever. This is a need to estimate the time required to execute the project deadline, and how much is it can be postponed needs to be agreed upon before the starting of the project. Then comes your resource feasibility. The project is always executed by the human resource and the availability of the right kind and amount of skilled manpower is crucial for the project to be executed without any hassles. Stakeholders of project feasibility. The team conducting the project feasibility study will generally receive crude inputs in the form of preliminary requirements of a broad outline of the project. During the project feasibility analysis, they have to make several assumptions and clarifications to verify that their assessment is reliable and relevant to the project. This additional dealing or detailing must be done in coordination and consultation with different individuals and groups who have first-hand information, would be consuming the result, or are subject matters expert in the area. These are referred to as stakeholders of project feasibility analysis, as they are going to be impacted or will be impacting the project once initiated. With this, we will be concluding today's session.